Hello everyone, it's Andrea and welcome back to my channel. I have another layout process video for you today. We are going to work on this stack of photos. These are photos of my daughter and son-in-law, and I just think that these are going to work really well with some of the new Stampin' Up! Papers that I have. So first of all, I have just 2 sheets of black cardstock. We're going to work with this. This is going to be my base layer, and we are going to just gut out the center of these to make room so that we have some extra paper. We don't waste. We have paper to mount our photos to make photo mats, and then maybe for a title. Next up, I have this beautiful glitter cardstock from Stampin' Up! I'm not sure that the name is on the back of this cardboard. It is not. So again, we've got 3 really beautiful shades here, and I am definitely going to work at least a little bit of this. I'm planning on probably using it in my title, so that's where we'll go with that. And then last, we have our Zinnia paper, and you saw that I created a tea house layout with this. If you haven't, I will definitely link that video to this one so that you can check that out. I used it with pops of red, and it was really a pretty paper palette. So let me flip these 2 over. You can see there's just lots of florally patterns in here. And so I am planning on using 1 sheet of this beautifully patterned cardstock. I am planning on using this. I love this paper. Look. It is tone on tone. I've got it upside down. Tone on tone, and you've just got just a ton of zinnias all over this cardstock. So those are the 2 pieces I'm definitely going to use. This is a little scrap that was left over from our tea layout, and this will definitely get used up as well. I just think with all of these beautiful flowers that the kids were standing in front of, this is just going to be the perfect paper to scrapbook those photos on. So let's get started. The first thing that I want to share with you is how I'm going to save some of the inside of this paper. So I call this gutting, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay this paper down on the 1-inch mark right here on the left-hand side of my cutter. And then I'm going to move the blade to the 1-inch mark here, and I'm going to go from 1 to 11. I might go just a tiny bit past. That'll just help the rest of the cuts go a little bit easier. But you're going to see I'm going to do the same thing again and again. We're going to go from the 1-inch mark down here up to the 11. I have finished cutting both of my base pages here. So I have the outsides that we're going to build our pages on. I had 2 of these insides, and let me just show you what I got. I initially took this inside part right here, and I cut that 5 1/4 by 7 1/4. I had a piece left over, and out of that I cut one of my 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 inch photo mats. So I had the bigger photo mat, this smaller one. So from that bigger one, which was 4 1/4 by 6 1/4, I went around, left a 1/2 inch edge, and I was able to sneak out the inside. And that inside fit my 4 by 6 as a photo mat perfectly. I didn't stop there though. So now I had 2 solid 4 by 6 pieces, or 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. So I cut away a 1/2 inch around each of those and took out the middle. And guess what? I had enough to make these 2 photo mats. So out of one piece, one 10 by 10 piece, I just made photo mats for a 5 by 7, one 4 by 6, another 4 by 6, a 3 by 4, and a 3 by 4. And that's how I did it out of 1 sheet, by just gutting out the inside again and again, and I was able to save all of that paper. So that's just a little paper saving trick that you can do, and that leaves me plenty. I still had all these scraps from the inside of that 10 by 10 piece, so between that and some other scraps, I might just save this 10 by 10 piece for a bigger project. I'm just going to cut out my title out of that. Let's see how wide this one is. This is a 2.5 inch piece. So I'm going to cut this straight down the middle. I'm going to give myself 1 1/4. And then 1 1/4. And I think I'm actually going to cut away 1/4 inch of each of these. And then I'm going to take this beautiful piece right here. I'm going to trim this right down the middle in half. And I think I'm going to potentially fussy cut this. I'm not sure yet. If I do, I'm just going to bring in a pair of scissors and go around these. I'm going to see how much we have left. This one, I think I might just trim this down 1/4 inch as well. And then the same with this. I'm going to just start by trimming the 1/4 inch off the whole entire length so I don't have to make 2 cuts. So we just trimmed once. And now I'm going to turn this and I'm going to cut this on the 6-inch mark. I want this directly in half. I have gone ahead. I have fussy cut out all of the tops of our zinnias here. And then I have brought into frame our base here that we gutted. And I have our zinnia piece. I've put adhesive just down the 2 sides of this particular piece. And I'm going to bring this up to the top. And I'm going to just secure that right to the right hand edge. And then down the sides. I have our little floral piece. I have some adhesive on the 2 sides and then down on the bottom. I did take my Versamat out and I decided to work right on my glass mat because I wanted it to be a little bit easier for you to see how I was lining this up. And I felt like the black outside edge here, the border got lost in the edges of the Versamat. So I decided, just so you could see that I was putting a 1/4 inch border all around, I decided that I would use the glass board directly. Now that we've got our top piece and our bottom piece down, it is time to take our zinnia piece. Again, adhesive just on the outside, and we can even put a little bit along the tops if you wanted to. I don't think it's going to be an issue. I'm just going to go ahead and butt this zinnia piece up against the bottom strip with the little tiny flowers. I want to make sure that I do not have any daylight peeking through behind. I want them really nicely up against each other. And what I love about this is that we have used these busy bold pattern papers. We have used these smaller prints in a smaller strip, which I think is to scale. And then we have the larger piece of the larger prints. And I think that works really well to draw your eye up the page. And although there's this really bold pattern back here, it's tone on tone. It's a background element at this point. It's not like it's bold and competing with these. So we have 3 bold patterned papers here, but we have done them justice, I think. I think that the way that they're arranged on the paper, it's not overwhelming. So I'm going to do the same thing with our right-hand page, but I'm going to butt these pieces up against the inner edge as well. So when we cut all of these down to be 11 3/4 inch wide, that allowed for us to get that little 1/4 inch border along the outer edge. And I'm really focusing on where these match up. So I wanted the zinnias to just run straight across. And I think it's time to bring in our photos and just try to arrange them. So I know that I do want this to go up here, and this one is going to go somewhere down here. That leaves me room for my title up here, and I'm hoping that I have enough room. I'm just going to play with some of the letters here. I have several layers of cut out of that green glitter cardstock, as well as outlined in black. So I have used an alphabet from Close to My Heart. It is our outlined alphabet. So this was something that you might have picked up before Close to My Heart closed. And it's nice. If you cut it twice, you're going to get 2 pieces. You're going to get the outer layer like this. And then you're also going to get an inner layer. So let me see if I can find a better example. I'm trying to dig through all these letters. So I have the outline of the E and the inside of the E. And that was made with one pass with the letter E of that die cut. I'm going to use the inside portion here. I'm going to save this E for another day. And then I have also cut out of the black. So I have the inside and the outside of that. And I'm just going to, when I glue this all down, I just put the outside of that cutout, the black cutout, with the inside of the green. And we're going to have a nice title. But for now, I just wanted to make sure that if I laid this down about here, that I was not going to, you know, run out of room to the left. That's my only concern. So whichever title you decide to use, just make sure that you have enough room. So I'm going to bring this in about a 1/2 inch from the right hand edge. And I think I'm going to bring it down probably to about here. So I'm guessing I'm at like 1.25 inches from the top. If you wanted to make a layout that was similar to this. If you didn't and you had different photos, you could definitely move these photo mats around your layout a little bit more and make them work for you. This one, I'm going to just put this photo right about there. And I have also used another close to my heart die cutting set. We used to call these thin cuts. This is our decorative shapes. And I have cut out the big flower as well as a few of the little flowers. And I definitely want one to go here. And then we're just going to work on placing the photos over here. And so you guys know I'm very big on keeping the photos in a line at some point. I think that I'm going to put this one here and this one here, or maybe we will just switch those around. I think this looks better. The reason that I think this arrangement looks better is that we have photos that were taken at different distances. So we have one that is definitely, you know, a little further away, one here that's closer up. So I'm just going to line up the bottoms of these. So that looks pretty close to me. And then this one, again, is a little bit further away. So I didn't want further away next to further away. I think by putting the closer up one in the middle, it's a good balance. And then we've got one more. And I might actually tilt this. Let's see how this goes. That's why I tape things down very sparingly in the beginning, because I always have this need to change things just a bit. And in fact, yeah, I think that's good because I do want them to kind of frame all of these photos. I think that's really cute how that turned out. And now I'm just going to work on maybe placing a couple more flowers. I have 3 of these big flowers that I did not cut into the middle of in my little die cut bucket here. So this might work. So I know I definitely want one over here somewhere. And I think I do want it up higher. I don't want it in line with this one. So this one is going to go right up there. Like the way that that looks so far. I'm going to go ahead and just work on this title and spacing. We're going to use a ruler to line these all up straight across. So you can see that everything is on my grid mat here, and I've got the ruler running straight. Repositionable adhesive on the back of these at first so that I can slide them left or right and make adjustments if need be. And then once I have these down to my liking, I will then come back, tack these with a little bit of permanent adhesive, and then put permanent adhesive just on a couple dots here, and then put those around the outside. So I'm going to work on that, and then I'll come back and show you the finished result. I finished my title up here, and I've got to be honest, that was really tedious. And it does look pretty. It's bold. It's happy. I like that you can use the inside and the outsides from the cuts. I still have a pile left here that are like, you know, either the outsides that I didn't use or the insides that I didn't use. So I'll just put those into the back of my little envelope with that die set. It does look beautiful, but like I said, boy, I would have rather have done that on a Cricut. I think it would have been easier to have all of the words, the outlines at least all attached and lay them down instead of piecing each one. Anyway, that's done. We've made it through. And so I went ahead and took that decorative shape thin cut set, made a few more cuts. So I showed you that I cut out of that pretty paper here. I cut this bigger one and some smaller ones, but then I looked at this again and I said, you know what, I need a little green leaf. So I cut a set of green leaves out of this glitter cardstock. And then I also went back and just did some more of these little tiny flowers in green, because I'm not sure what I want to use as the center of these. Now, like I said, I needed a triangle. And so I'm thinking this is going to go up here. This side has enough. We've committed to put one here and one here. And now I think that this is the place, the proper place for the third one, right about there. So we're going to just stick that down up there. And now this is how I'm thinking it might go. Something like this. I just need to see which I prefer. If I prefer tone on tone with the green leaf, I like that, but I think that the tone on tone is getting lost. So I think that we are going to have to go with the green for the little tiny insides. So we're just going to put those on with foam tape. And then this is just going to get glued down. And I think moving the green across the layout instead of having it just solely on our title really is softening this layout a bit. I felt like that title with the black and the green letters was just a little bit harsh, but having this contrast here, I think is helping. I think it's really pulling the glitter across and it makes more sense. Remember the edges that we trimmed off of each of these floral pieces? I'm going to use those right here to journal on. I might trim them. I might make 3 out of this. I'm not sure, maybe 3 or 4. And that leaves me with just a little bit more now to decorate. I have these little tiny flowers, and I think that it would probably make sense to include them into our little clusters. And the final touch that I want to do is bring in some of these accents. You saw me use these a couple times now here on the channel. And I have picked out just some of the pink ones now. I think that they'll show up just delicately on the layout. So I want to make 2 clusters of those. I still wanted to add a couple of stamped images to my layout. So I'm bringing in my Layers of Beauty stamp set. And I picked out You Make My Heart Smile. I have picked out the little tiny flower and then the Grateful for You. I have some of my Close to My Heart archival black ink, and I am going to ink this up. Also going to carefully do 1 page at a time. So I'm going to move this one out of the way. Going to bring in a piece of foam. If you have a Versamat, that would work as well. And I'm going to start up here with the You Make My Heart Smile. So we're going to ink that up. And I'm pretty sure that Stampin' Up! Has ink that you could use to do the same thing. So I've got that little sentiment up there. I think that's kind of cute. And then I'm going to bring in this page, because I know that I want to stamp Grateful for You right here in this blank spot. And that's why I selected this ink, because it should work to stamp right on this photo. I love adding little embellishments to my photo. So there we are. That worked beautifully. And the last thing I was considering was adding that little tiny flower here and there. And this is nerve-wracking to me because I'm not sure how this is going to go, but we're just going to try it. I think we'll put one right there. Yikes. And one right about here. Now that we finished stamping, let's take a look at the layout. I think we will pick up, start with this side. I put our frosted gems right here. I know that they're a little bit hard to see, but they're hidden among the flowers. And then on this side, I put them right onto the cardstock, and I think you can see those a little bit better there. I also decided that on each of these big flowers, I would add one of those frosted gems out of the same exact little container, but one of the yellow ones. And I think that added the finishing touch. It made this flower feel more like this flower by having the little center and the little yellow. I just think that was a good touch. And of course, the stamping up here. So all in all, I'm really happy with the way this layout came out. I think that it was a good way to use the paper. Like I've said before, we have a smaller strip of our smaller scale floral. We've got a bigger swatch of our larger scale floral. And then our largest floral came in this, you know, tone on tone background. So it doesn't overpower the other two busy florals. And I think that's a good way to handle it. Biggest with the biggest flowers, medium in the middle, and then a tiny piece. Everything is to scale. Everything looks good. And it's not so overwhelming. They're very busy patterned papers, but I think that this tone on tone does give a place for your eyes to rest. If you're new to my channel, go ahead and consider hitting that subscribe button. Hit the notification bell so you won't miss any of my upcoming videos. And I want to just say thank you for stopping by my channel and watching this video today. I hope you have a creative day.